They call him the Butcher. I think Shyamalan came up with that because he's used to being called a butcher by now. What's going on, guys? I'm Tyler. I review movies by reenacting them, and today I have so many wonderful things to say about Shyamalan's new movie, Trap. In the cities of Hamilton and Toronto, pretending to be Philadelphia. And I'm not kidding, folks. Out of all the Canadian movies pretending to be American, this one's the most obvious. The outside of the concert hall is so blatantly the Rogers Center where the Blue Jays go and lose. Hell, when you see the streets, houses, and even mailboxes, it looks like it's down the road from me. A serial killer named Cooper, played by Josh Hartnett, takes his daughter to a Shyamalan concert. More on that later. But when he sees the entire city's idiot police force guarding the exits, detaining all the men, when did Kathleen Kennedy become premier? He realizes the event is a trap for him, and that's as far as I'm gonna go with the plot, because it is absolutely bonkers. The trailers hit that well. They made this look so boring, I almost skipped it. But because there was really nothing else to check out this weekend, I decided to roll the dice and hope it was a so bad it's good experience at the least. And let me tell you, even though there are some good but not great Shyamalan moments, for the most part, I laughed my ass off and just sat there asking, what the fuck is even happening right now? And I had a blast with it. But because there are legit good moments within this movie, I'll save the best for last. Shyamalan, to his credit, once again proves that he can be a great director and does create a tense atmosphere. The use of God's eye camera angles, wide shots and close-ups of these massive crowds, and even those obnoxious POV shots where the actors look straight into the camera does recreate the claustrophobic experience of being at a concert hall. If anything, the song numbers themselves actually are the most realistic thing about the movie. The singer is dead center on stage while all these other screens are showing the exact same thing but bigger. The sound design is headache-inducing and you can't even hear half the lyrics because of the constant screaming fans. Like, Shyamalan really did his homework on this one. And because most of the movie takes place from Cooper's point of view without cutting back and forth between him and the cops, we're kept on our toes discovering just as much as he does about the investigation. Even when it switches from his perspective to the singers, it still follows the same rules and creates easily the most suspenseful scenes in the movie, which, speaking of, let's just get this out of the way. Shyamalan's own daughter, who might have been the daughter that said, "Daddy, I want to be Katara for Halloween," is the singer of the movie. And believe it or not, when Cooper starts sending threats to her, creating this cat and mouse game trying to escape, she kind of sort of becomes the main character. But I will say this, even though her line delivery is pretty flat, when she has to act with her emotions alone, she sells the fear and responsibility of trying to catch this guy without getting anyone caught in the crossfire. And to the script's credit, she does come up with some clever ways of trying to toy with this guy. And in regards to her being an actual singer in real life, she created 14 songs alone for this movie, and some of them are pretty on the nose about what's going on within the scene or what the message is. But I will say, I've listened to the whole soundtrack. I'd rather listen to these songs over Tay-Tay any other fucking day. As nepo as this role is, she pulls her weight, and I was actually kind of impressed that Shyamalan's own daughter was the most subtle thing about this movie. Aside from that, the moment Cooper walks up to this random employee who is played wonderfully by Jonathan Langdon, we get the trademark Shyamalan dialogue, the awkward exposition, repeating lines like we've never heard them already. Josh Hartnett is clearly having a ball playing a serial killer and is so hammy in this. I seriously thought he was gonna start karate chopping people. The expressions, his eyes, the change in his voice is so stupid. It looked like, I realized this halfway through, it looked like God, I know what I'm about to say, Jesus. The batshit crazy faces and change of voices he makes is like watching Channing Tatum on that drug trip in Jump Street while he's about to climax. It is so over the top, it was amazing. And it compensates for what a generic backstory and MO that he has for a serial killer. In fact, we barely even see him be a serial killer. We never see him murder anyone. We get one instance of him kidnapping a guy in such a Looney Tunes fashion where the guy just walks up to a black van in the middle of the night, and that's the logic that you expect from a script like this. But like, be ready for it, guys, because it gets even dumber than this. Hell, he has the most generic nickname ever. They call him the Butcher. I think Shyamalan came up with that because he's used to being called a butcher by now. He's supposed to be able to blend in with a regular crowd, according to this FBI profiler who doesn't do shit throughout this entire thing, by the way. But the only reason people don't notice him in this movie is because the script basically tells them not to. I'm not kidding. When he walks up to Jonathan Langdon and says, hey, what's with all the cops? Without any hesitation, dude just blurts out the entire plan to him. But what is so hilarious is that he's so happy and excited that there is a murderer in the place that he works at just because, I don't know, the thrill of like catching a serial killer on your day job. He acts like he's about to jump up like Ashton and say, you got punked. Even though this guy is clearly a suspect, dude trusts him so much to the point where, as he's getting a shirt for this guy's daughter, he holds up a box cutter and says, can you hold this? What? Why? Oh. I thought it couldn't get any dumber until Hartnett steals his key card and walks into this SWAT team meeting of like 20 officers huddled up, giving exposition about the last victim. And nobody notices the guy just standing there, stealing their radio. Even when they ask for ID, the key card that he gives them has no picture, no name, and they just instantly believe him? Like, what? For the first half of this movie, the only time anyone actually notices him is when this woman whose daughter bullies his daughter keeps popping up and they're arguing over some event that happened that's never addressed, by the way. If anything, this is a movie about a serial killer, and the girl whose daughter is bullying his never comes into fruition, doesn't even play into his MO. Like, really? When he keeps saying, now it's not the time, rightfully so, because it's a fucking concert, right in front of the security guards, she goes, I am not one to be toyed with. I have a dark side, you know. Like, this is Shyamalan's version of what YouTube Karens are like. And from here on in, I can't talk about just how inane and stupid this movie and the characters are without giving away major spoilers. So, long story short, just based on the examples that I gave before on just how over the top the acting is, how ungodly stupid the suspension of disbelief has to be for a thriller like this, and just how awkward the line delivery is, this is peak so bad it's good Shyamalan, and I highly recommend it checking out. This movie is breaking me for how much I can't speak in this. For moderate Shyamalan fans, I'd recommend like waiting for streaming to check this out, but if you want to laugh at something bad right away, definitely go see it. But yeah, things really took a turn for the best and worst, in my opinion, when he actually walks up to the singer and shows the video of the victim saying, if you don't let me out of here right now, I will kill him. And probably the most suspenseful turn for me was when, as they're riding in her limo, the singer Lady Raven actually makes the effort of saying, can I stop by at your house? You seem like such a nice girl. And at first I actually thought that was pretty clever, because you could actually that's actually a good way to get the police to go, wait, she didn't go to the airport, something's up. And then she texts, I'm here, the killer's here, like, where the fuck are you, come? Like, that was actually, in my opinion, a good idea. And not gonna lie, when she actually steals the phone from Cooper, locks herself in the bathroom and live streams, while you hear all this crazy shit in the background, all you can see is the bathroom door, so you're left wondering what Cooper is doing to his family once he's snapped. That was easily the scariest scene in the entire movie, and it's the kind of stuff that I actually wanted from the rest of the film, because as good as this concept is about a serial killer at a concert, I do think that the movie should have been about the victims as opposed to the actual killer, because there's more suspense in the fact that the killer could be anywhere in the crowd. I do think that following the killer's perspective from beginning to end isn't as tense, because he's not that sympathetic of a character for blatantly obvious reasons. But we're reminded of who wrote the script when the second he opens his garage, he has Lady Raven zip-tied and stuff, even though he locked his family in the bathroom, once the garage door opens, they're suddenly already there? Like, dude, you bought all of these houses, you have all of these OCD tendencies, you have a literal crawl space with a SWAT uniform waiting for you, and you forgot that there was a window that your family could crawl out of? It makes about as much sense as what happens later when he hijacks Lady Raven's own SUV. And look, when they filmed him from behind, I knew for a fact that that was him in the uniform, but I still threw my hands up and went, what the fuck? How do you guys not notice this is a serial killer just because he's wearing one of your uniforms? He doesn't even have a scarf on covering his face. It's just... And it gets even dumber from the fact that he actually drove that limo into a fucking crowded area where he could have been caught at any moment and almost does, but I don't know, because he didn't expect her to rip off the railing that had her handcuff attached to it. Because of course the rail just instantly broke when she pulled on it real hard. I'm surprised they didn't give her large nails to like open the window so she can say, help, there's a killer in here. I will give credit. I mean, Shyamalan's daughter is the smartest character in this movie, and that's both a compliment and an insult at the exact same time. But easily the most inane, idiotic thing about this was the actual twist, where Alison Pill, it turns out, was the one who tipped off the police by planting evidence at one of his other homes. Which, look, the excuse of her following him because she thought he was having an affair, again, that was a valid excuse. But going into the house and planting the evidence, look, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, she was married to him for X amount of years, they had 2 kids, she wasn't going to rat him out that easily, but I don't know, you let your daughter go to this concert where there was a ton of police and anyone, including your daughter, could have been caught in the crossfire if and when he was going to try to escape, which he would have because he's a fucking serial killer. But what I don't understand is the daughter called her saying, this singer wants to come by my house because she invited me on stage and everything. Why didn't you call the police saying, my husband is coming with this singer, like, be prepared, he might take her hostage, which is exactly what happened. Almost everybody in this is so dumb, except Shyamalan's own daughter. What a twist. I am simultaneously frustrated and enthralled by the idiocy that is Trap. If you've stuck with me this long, first of all, thank you. I was not expecting that, but what else can I say that hasn't already been said? The acting is cheesy and over the top. The direction is stylish, but still simultaneously kind of pretentious at the exact same time. And even though everyone's clearly having a blast, and so should you, based on everything that I just said, the script is convenient as fuck. As per usual with Shyamalan stuff, and I really don't know how to end this because, as you can tell, most of my faults with this movie were off the cuff and improv. I just woke up. I've only had like 1 glass of water, okay? In any case, guys, thanks as always for watching such as incoherent a review as the movie was, oddly enough. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Trap, and M. Night Shyamalan in particular. Be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on Patreon, buy me a coffee. I'll see you all in the next review. Take care. Bye.